Is your money dirty money?
If you look,
I just asked a question. Is your money dirty money?
no, it's not.
A private island in the crystal blue Caribbean, luxurious mansions in Manhattan, Palm Beach, and New Mexico, a private jet with a disturbing nickname, parties attended by presidents, princes, and billionaires. Now, imagine that behind all this wealth and glamour was one of the most horrifying criminal enterprises in modern history. What you're about to hear isn't a conspiracy theory. It's not fiction.
I was 14 years old. I was 16 years old.
I was 16.
17.
14 years old.
This is me.
This was me.
This is me when I met Jeffrey Epstein.
This is me when I met Jeffrey Epstein.
It's a documented case that exposed the darkest truth about power and privilege, that sometimes money and influence can buy something far more sinister than luxury. They can buy silence, protection, and time. For decades, a man moved freely among the world's elite. He collected famous friends like trophies. He built an empire of wealth whose origins remain mysterious even today. And all the while, he was running a systematic operation that destroyed the lives of countless young victims. His name was Jeffrey Epstein, and this is the story of how one man's crimes stayed hidden in plain sight, protected by a fortress of wealth and powerful connections, until brave survivors and determined journalists finally tore down those walls. But here's what makes this story truly chilling. Even when justice finally came knocking, it came with more questions than answers. So, buckle up. This isn't going to be easy to hear, but it's a story that needs to be told, because understanding how this happened is the only way to prevent it from happening again. Let's dive in. Who was Jeffrey Epstein? On the surface, Jeffrey Epstein appeared to be the embodiment of the American dream.
And the video captures Donald Trump and Epstein chatting while watching a group of women at the party dance.
A financier who moved in the highest circles of society. He rubbed shoulders with presidents, British royalty, tech billionaires, and Hollywood celebrities. His private island in the Caribbean, his Manhattan mansion, his fleet of private jets, all symbols of extraordinary wealth and success. But beneath this glittering facade lurked something truly sinister. For years, Epstein operated a sophisticated criminal network that preyed on vulnerable minors, many from disadvantaged backgrounds. These weren't just crimes of opportunity. They were part of a calculated, systematic operation designed to exploit young people while evading accountability. Epstein's operation was chillingly methodical. He and his associates would identify vulnerable young people, often from broken homes or difficult economic circumstances. They'd promise opportunities, modeling careers, educational support, financial help for their families. What these individuals found instead was manipulation, coercion, and exploitation. The criminal network operated across multiple locations: his Palm Beach mansion in Florida, his New York City townhouse, his New Mexico ranch, and his private island in the U.S. Virgin Islands. Epstein didn't work alone. He had a network of enablers, including his longtime associate Ghislaine Maxwell, who helped recruit and groom victims. What made this case particularly disturbing was the sophisticated infrastructure behind it. Epstein maintained detailed records, flight logs, and contact information, evidence that would later prove crucial in understanding the scope of his crimes. Here's where the story takes an infuriating turn. Epstein's crimes weren't unknown to authorities.
At 14, $200. That's a lot of money at 14 years old. I mean, that's a lot of money now.
She's like, oh, do you need to make any extra money? I'm like, yeah. She's like, okay, I can give you, like $200. There's this older guy in Palm Beach. He gets a lot of massages from girls. That was really that.
In 2005, parents of a young victim reported him to police in Palm Beach, Florida. The subsequent investigation uncovered dozens of potential victims and a mountain of evidence. But in 2008, despite federal prosecutors preparing serious charges, Epstein received what many consider one of the most lenient plea deals in American criminal history. Through his high-powered legal team, he pleaded guilty to just 2 state charges. His sentence, 13 months in a county jail, with work release privileges that allowed him to spend most days at his office.
Costa, the former U.S. attorney who negotiated a controversial 2008 plea deal with Epstein, appeared before the House Oversight Committee on Friday.
This sweetheart deal, negotiated by then U.S. Attorney Alexander Acosta, included a controversial non-prosecution agreement that granted immunity to any potential co-conspirators. The victims weren't even properly informed about the plea deal, a violation of the Crime Victims' Rights Act. How did this happen? This is where we see the true power of wealth and connections. Epstein's legal team included prominent attorneys who negotiated relentlessly. His connections to influential figures may have created an invisible shield around him. For over a decade, Epstein continued his lifestyle, seemingly untouchable, but investigative journalism, particularly a groundbreaking series by the Miami Herald in 2018, brought renewed attention to his crimes and the inadequate justice he'd received. Survivors came forward with their stories, refusing to be silenced. In July 2019, federal prosecutors in New York arrested Epstein again, this time on federal charges of criminal exploitation of minors. The evidence was overwhelming. Investigators found hundreds of photographs of compromising images at his Manhattan mansion. Victims began speaking out publicly, their courage helping to build an even stronger case. But then came another shocking twist. On August 10, 2019, Jeffrey Epstein was found deceased in his cell at the Metropolitan Correctional Center in New York. The official ruling: self-harm. He would never face trial, never answer for his crimes in court, never allow his victims their day confronting him in a courtroom. Epstein's death left countless questions unanswered. Who else was involved? How many victims were there in total? How did he accumulate his wealth, something that remains mysterious to this day? And most troubling, how many other powerful people participated in or turned a blind eye to his crimes? The Black Book and flight logs seized from Epstein's properties contain names of numerous high-profile individuals. While having contact with Epstein doesn't imply criminal behavior, it raised uncomfortable questions about what certain powerful people knew and when they knew it. In 2021, Ghislaine Maxwell was convicted of criminal conspiracy charges. She's currently serving a 20-year prison sentence. Other investigations continue, slowly pulling back the curtain on this network of abuse. What this case teaches us: the Epstein case is a stark reminder that wealth and power can create dangerous blind spots in our justice system. For years, his money bought him lawyers who could negotiate favorable deals, connections that may have discouraged thorough investigations, and a lifestyle that placed him beyond the reach of ordinary accountability. It shows us how predators can hide in elite circles, using their status and connections as camouflage. It demonstrates how victims from vulnerable backgrounds can be dismissed or ignored when their abusers have resources and influence. But this case also shows the power of persistent journalism, courageous survivors who refuse to stay silent, and the possibility, however delayed, of accountability. The story of Jeffrey Epstein isn't just about one man's crimes. It's about systemic failures, about how power can corrupt justice, and about the resilience of survivors who fought to be heard. While Epstein escaped ultimate accountability through death.
On the morning of August 10, 2019, convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein was discovered dead in his cell at the Metropolitan Correctional Center in Lower Manhattan.
His case sparked necessary conversations about how we protect the vulnerable and hold the powerful to account. Justice may have been delayed and, in some ways, denied. But the legacy of this case is a continued push for reform, for vigilance, and for a society where wealth and influence cannot shield criminals from facing consequences. What are your thoughts on how the justice system handles cases involving wealthy, connected individuals? Share your perspectives respectfully in the comments below.